I found my deceased mother's diary and realized I was the result of a transaction. Now I'm making my billionaire biological father pay for my silence. They say you should never speak ill of the dead. But what happens when the dead spent their entire lives lying to your face? My mother passed away 4 months ago. She was a saint in our small town, a hard-working nurse who raised me single-handedly in a cramped 2-bedroom apartment that smelled like bleach and cheap candles. She told me my father was a brave soldier who died before I was born, a hero, a ghost. Well, the ghost showed up last week, and he doesn't wear a uniform. He wears 3-piece Italian suits and owns a decent chunk of the city's skyline. I found the truth in a dusty leather-bound notebook tucked behind the water heater during the move-out. I expected recipes or sappy poems. Instead, I got a roadmap to a scandal that could topple a financial empire. My mother wasn't a grieving widow. She was a temporary distraction for a man we'll call Victor. Victor is a household name. You've seen him on the news, talking about family values, traditional marriage, and corporate integrity. He's the guy who donates millions to children's hospitals, while apparently ignoring the one child he actually fathered in a motel room 25 years ago. The diary was clinical. It wasn't a love story. It was a record of meetings. My mother had been a high-end hostess for a short period, the kind of job you take when the bills are piling up and you have no other options, if you understand what I mean. Victor was her regular. When she got pregnant, he didn't want a legacy with a girl from the wrong side of the tracks. He gave her a choice: take a lump sum of $50,000 and disappear, or deal with the consequences of a man with unlimited legal resources. She took the money. She used it to buy that crappy apartment and raise me in a lie. She lived in fear for 2 decades, thinking he'd come for us if she ever spoke up. She died with $74 in her bank account and a heart full of secrets. I sat on the floor of that empty apartment for 6 hours, reading and rereading those pages. I felt a mix of rage and a strange, cold clarity. While I was working 3 shifts at a warehouse to pay for my community college, Victor was buying his legitimate kids private jets and Ivy League degrees. While my mother was skipping meals so I could have new shoes, Victor was hosting galas for the elite. Society tells us that blood is thicker than water, but blood doesn't pay the rent. I decided right then that if Victor wanted to keep his traditional family man image, it was going to cost him a hell of a lot more than $50,000. I spent the next month doing my homework. I took a DNA test, the kind you can do at home, and managed to get a sample of Victor's DNA from a discarded water bottle at a public charity event. It's amazing what you can get close to if you wear a high-vis vest and carry a clipboard. 99.9% match. I didn't go to the press. I didn't go to his wife. I didn't go to the police. I went straight to his office. I didn't have an appointment, but I told the receptionist I had private documents from his 1998 archives. 5 minutes later, I was in a room that cost more than my entire childhood home. Victor looked exactly like he does on TV, only colder. He didn't recognize me, of course. Why would he? To him, I was just a ghost of a mistake he thought he'd buried. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I sat down, placed the diary and the DNA results on his mahogany desk, and smiled. "You have a beautiful family, Victor. Your daughter is getting married next month, right? The wedding of the century? It would be such a shame if the father of the bride was trending on Twitter for something other than his toast." The blood drained from his face. He didn't even try to deny it. Men like him don't deny, they calculate. He looked at the diary, then at me. "How much?" he whispered. "I don't want a one-time payment.
I want the life you owed me. I want a monthly consulting fee that allows me to never work another day in my life. I want a trust fund set up for my future children, and I want you to pay off every debt my mother ever had, posthumously, including the mortgage on that apartment she struggled to keep." He tried to play tough. He threatened me with his security team. He told me he'd have me arrested for extortion. I just pointed at the cloud icon on my phone. The diary is scanned. The DNA results are in 3 different safe deposit boxes. If I don't check in every 24 hours, the family values king becomes the motel room predator overnight. Your choice, Dad. The silence in that room was the loudest thing I've ever heard. That was 3 weeks ago. Today, I'm writing this from a penthouse overlooking the park. My bank account is heavy, and I have a black card that doesn't have a limit. I haven't talked to a soul about where the money came from. To my old friends, I just got lucky with some crypto. Is it blackmail? Legally, probably. Is it moral? Who cares? Victor bought his way out of fatherhood 25 years ago for a discount. I'm just adjusting for inflation and interest. He gets to keep his perfect life, his perfect wife, and his perfect reputation. I get the security he stole from me. My mother would probably be horrified. She was a woman of honor who died in poverty. I'm a person of resources who will live in luxury. Sometimes the only way to win a rigged game is to rewrite the rules when nobody is looking. Victor sends the money like clockwork. We don't speak, we don't bond. I'm not his son. He's my most expensive secret. And honestly, I sleep better on 1,000 thread sheets than I ever did in that bleach-smelling bedroom. Am I a monster for selling my mother's secret? Or am I just the only one in this family who knows how to close a deal?